Paris awoke slowly under a soft morning haze, the streets gleaming with dew and sunlight filtering through delicate wrought iron balconies. Emilia stepped onto her small apartment balcony, the city below alive with motion. Cafe chairs scraping gently on cobblestones, merchants setting up colorful stalls, and the faint strains of accordion music drifting from a street corner. Each sound, each scent, each fleeting image made her pulse quicken, a reminder that Paris demanded attention, charm, and intuition. Today felt different, not just another challenge, but a day where personal and professional stakes intertwined in a way that made her heart both nervous and exhilarated. Her phone buzzed with a message from May, who never failed to punctuate the ordinary with surprise. Big day today. Camille has a few tricks, Gabriel has that look you love, and you'll be the center of everything. Breakfast at Le Procope in 15. Emilia smiled, the excitement mingling with nervous tension. She dressed carefully, a tailored blouse paired with flowing trousers and a light scarf thrown loosely around her neck, balancing elegance with approachability. Every detail mattered here. Paris was a city that noticed, remembered, and responded to subtle cues, from the tilt of a head to the cadence of a step. The walk to Le Procope was a sensory symphony. Street cafés exuded the rich aroma of roasting coffee beans, freshly baked croissants steamed in the morning sun, and snippets of French conversation floated around her like music. Bicycles whizzed by, pedestrians mingled in graceful chaos, and the gentle hum of the city filled her with energy and focus. Emilia reveled in the rhythm, knowing that every street corner, every interaction could hold opportunity, challenge, or distraction. May was already at their favorite corner table, eyes twinkling with mischief. "Ready?" she asked, leaning forward, voice a conspiratorial whisper. Camille is scheming, Gabriel is unpredictable, and you're going to need all your wits. Paris has a way of making ordinary mornings feel like the opening act of a movie. Emilia laughed softly, nerves fluttering like delicate wings. She had learned to expect surprises here, yet the thrill of unpredictability never dulled. As they spoke, Gabriel arrived, carrying 2 espressos, his quiet confidence filling the space. Their eyes met, and Emilia felt that familiar jolt, the thrill of connection, subtle yet undeniable. "Morning," he said, offering her one of the cups. Their fingers brushed briefly, electric and fleeting, sending warmth through her chest. Every subtle gesture from Gabriel seemed amplified in this city, and Emilia felt both grounded and exhilarated at once. Before they could linger, Camille appeared, notebook in hand, moving with her characteristic precision. "I hope I'm not disturbing," she said, eyes glancing between Emilia and Gabriel. "But I thought you might want to see my latest concept before the briefing." Emilia felt the familiar sting of rivalry sharpen her awareness. Camille's elegance was a challenge, and subtle as it was, it required Emilia to be alert, clever, and poised. Walking to Savoie together, Emilia felt Paris embrace her senses, the Seine glimmering in the morning light, the hum of the city below, the golden lettering on boutique windows reflecting sunbeams, and the occasional cyclist weaving gracefully through pedestrians. The city wasn't just a backdrop. It was a living entity, testing her charm, intuition, and creativity at every turn. At the office, Sylvie's sharp gaze swept over the room. Luc and Julien, whispered quietly in corners, and Camille Poi's observation addait un extra layer de pression. The client briefing loomed, demanding more than creativity. It required diplomacy, awareness, and emotional intelligence. Emilia's heart raced, but she welcomed the challenge. Every moment was a chance to demonstrate skill, grace, and the subtle interplay of charm and strategy that Paris demanded. As the session began, Emilia wove her bold ideas into the conversation, balancing Camille's polished input and Gabriel's understated brilliance. When the client requested a sudden adjustment, Emilia proposed a solution that harmonized strategy, style, and originality, earning approving nods from Sylvie, a quiet smile from Gabriel, and a faint, unreadable glance from Camille. Each reaction reinforced the delicate web she was navigating, professional ambition intertwined with subtle romantic tension and rivalry. By mid-morning, Emilia stepped onto the balcony to catch her breath. The Seine shimmered beneath the soft sunlight, street cafés buzzed below, and Paris thrummed with life. May's words echoed in her mind. Paris will test you, confuse you, and maybe even seduce you. Today, Emilia realized the city had already done all three, and she was ready to face whatever came next, heart and mind fully engaged in the intoxicating rhythm of her Parisian adventure. The office was already buzzing with energy when Emilia arrived, the morning sunlight pouring through tall windows and reflecting off polished floors. Models, props, and sketches filled the creative space, but Emilia's focus was split between the tasks at hand and the subtle emotional currents weaving through the room. Gabriel's calm presence, Camille's poised attention, and Sylvie's watchful scrutiny created a charged atmosphere that tested both her skill and intuition. Paris had a way of magnifying every sensation, every glance, every fleeting gesture, and Emilia felt it in every nerve. Luc and Julien whispered in corners, their curious eyes tracking her movements, but Emilia paid them little mind. She had learned to navigate the subtle politics of savoir, balancing professionalism with charm, strategy, and her own growing confidence. Across the room, Camille moved with precise grace, notebook in hand, her eyes flicking toward Emilia in a silent but potent challenge. Every interaction was layered with meaning. Every word could tip the balance in unexpected ways. Gabriel approached quietly, carrying 2 cups of espresso. "You've been at it for hours," he murmured, handing one to her. Their fingers brushed lightly, a spark shooting through Emilia's chest. She sipped the coffee, feeling warmth spread not only from the drink, but from the quiet intimacy of the gesture. The city outside hummed softly, the distant strains of accordion music floating up from the streets. But inside, the tension and energy were palpable. The morning briefing began. High stakes and high tension. Camille's contributions were sleek and polished. Gabriel's insights subtle yet incisive. And Emilia's ideas bold, creative, and daring. When the client requested an unexpected adjustment, Emilia's mind raced. She proposed a solution that harmonized all contributions, balancing strategy, style, and innovation. Approval flowed subtly but meaningfully. Sylvie's sharp gaze softened with approval. Gabriel's eyes lit with quiet admiration, and Camille's expression remained carefully unreadable, a faint mixture of intrigue and challenge. Emilia's pulse quickened. Paris demanded both skill and emotional intelligence, and she felt herself rising to the occasion. By mid-morning, a pop-up photo shoot awaited at a nearby boutique. Emilia orchestrated models, props, and lighting, balancing Camille's poised oversight and Gabriel's quiet guidance. Every glance, every gesture, every accidental brush of hands added to the charged tension in the room. Emilia felt the thrill of performing professionally while navigating the intricate emotional dynamics surrounding her. Gabriel lingered close, subtle in his support, while Camille's measured observation reminded her that competition, charm, and subtle strategy were never far away. Stepping onto the balcony for a brief break, Emilia breathed in the intoxicating Parisian air. The Seine shimmered beneath the sunlight. Cafés buzzed with activity, and street musicians added a soundtrack to the bustling city. May's earlier words echoed in her mind. Paris will test you, confuse you, and maybe even seduce you. Today, she realized, all three were already happening. Every interaction had been a lesson in observation, intuition, and courage, teaching her to balance ambition, desire, and subtle diplomacy. Gabriel joined her at the railing, leaning casually yet intentionally close. "You handled everything brilliantly," he said softly. But Paris never slows down, and neither do its challenges or the opportunities. Their hands brushed again, fleeting yet electric, leaving Emilia both exhilarated and grounded. Camille lingered nearby, poised and controlled, her presence a subtle reminder that the balance of rivalry and charm was far from settled. The afternoon blurred into a series of interactions, client revisions, and small, charged moments. Emilia navigated the office politics, balancing charm, strategy, and emotional insight, while contending with her growing attraction to Gabriel. Camille's presence remained a quiet, calculated challenge, testing Emilia at every step. Yet she felt a growing confidence and mastery, aware that thriving in Paris required agility, intelligence, and heart. By late afternoon, as the office emptied and the golden city lights shimmered through the windows, Emilia leaned against the balcony railing. The Seine sparkled below, and the Eiffel Tower glittered in the distance. The day had tested her skill, charm, and courage, and she had thrived. Paris pulsed with possibility, lessons, and intrigue, and Emilia knew tomorrow would demand even more: creativity, intuition, and emotional awareness. She allowed herself a quiet thrill. The city, the office, Gabriel, and Camille promised more sparks, more challenges, and more moments that would test and excite her in ways she could not yet predict. The late afternoon sunlight poured through the office windows, casting long stripes across polished floors and scattered notes. Emilia sat at her desk, her hands hovering over sketches, but her mind was a whirlwind of emotions and calculations. Gabriel's quiet, steady presence, Camille's poised and calculating glances, and Sylvie's sharp oversight formed a subtle pressure that both exhilarated and unnerved her. Paris had a way of intensifying everything: the smallest touch, a glance, a carefully chosen word, and Emilia felt it coursing through every nerve. Gabriel appeared beside her desk, holding 2 espressos. "I thought you might need a little boost," he murmured, offering one to her. Their fingers brushed lightly, a spark that made her pulse race. She took the cup, savoring both the warmth of the drink and the intimacy of the moment. The office hummed around them, typing, faint chatter, distant phone rings. But all Emilia could focus on was the way Gabriel's calm, magnetic presence seemed to anchor and electrify her simultaneously. Camille glided into the room, notebook in hand, radiating flawless poise. "I hope I'm not intruding," she said smoothly, eyes flicking between Emilia and Gabriel. "But I wanted to show you my updated concept before the meeting." Emilia felt the familiar sting of rivalry tighten her chest. Camille's elegance and strategic mind were both a challenge and a subtle test. In Paris, skill and charm were inseparable, and one misstep could tilt the balance. The client briefing began, demanding sharp focus and quick thinking. Camille's polished suggestions, Gabriel's understated brilliance, and Emilia's bold, creative proposals intertwined seamlessly, each complementing the other while testing boundaries. When the client requested an unexpected last-minute pivot, Emilia's mind raced. She offered a solution that harmonized aesthetics, strategy, and originality, earning approving nods from Sylvie, a warm glance from Gabriel, and Camille's faint, inscrutable expression. Emilia's pulse quickened. The delicate dance of charm, skill, and subtle rivalry had never been more palpable. By mid-afternoon, the office shifted into controlled chaos. Models, props, and lighting for a photo shoot required careful orchestration. Emilia moved among them, balancing Camille's poised oversight and Gabriel's subtle guidance. Every touch, every gesture, every shared word intensified the charged tension. She felt the thrill of performing professionally while navigating the complex emotional dynamics around her. Gabriel lingered close, offering quiet support, while Camille's measured observation reminded Emilia that charm and strategy were constantly intertwined. Stepping onto the balcony for a brief respite, Emilia took a deep breath. The Seine shimmered beneath the afternoon sun, cafés buzzed below, and the faint strains of street music floated upward. May's words echoed. "Paris will test you, confuse you, and maybe even seduce you." Today had done all three. Each interaction had sharpened her instincts, taught her patience, and highlighted the subtle power of observation, intuition, and charm. Gabriel joined her, leaning casually yet deliberately close. "You handled today brilliantly," he said softly, voice low and compelling. "But Paris doesn't pause, and neither do its challenges or the opportunities." Their hands brushed again, fleeting yet electric, and Emilia felt a thrill she could neither ignore nor fully comprehend. Camille's presence at the far edge of the balcony added tension, her poised stance a reminder that rivalry was ever present, subtle but potent. The afternoon blurred with interactions, emails, client revisions, and quiet, charged moments. Emilia navigated the office politics with grace, balancing strategy, charm, and growing emotional awareness, all while her attraction to Gabriel intensified. Camille's poised interference remained a constant, testing Emilia at every turn, but she felt a growing confidence. Paris had taught her that thriving here required equal parts courage, intelligence, and heart. As the office emptied and golden city lights began to glimmer through the windows, Emilia leaned on the balcony railing, gazing at the Seine and the sparkling Eiffel Tower. The day had tested her creativity, charm, and courage, and she had not only survived, she had grown. Paris pulsed with possibility, lessons, and intrigue, and Emilia knew that tomorrow would demand the same, if not more. she allowed herself a quiet thrill. The city, Gabriel, Camille, and the subtle, intoxicating rhythm of life promised more sparks, more challenges, and more moments that would test and excite her in ways she could not yet predict. Night had draped Paris in a velvety glow, the city lights shimmering like liquid gold across the Seine. Emilia returned to her apartment after the long, exhilarating day, the sounds of the city drifting up from below, distant laughter, soft chatter from cafés, and the faint strains of a violin floating from a street corner. Each sound felt amplified, as if Paris itself were celebrating and testing her simultaneously. She leaned against the balcony railing, watching the golden reflections ripple across the water, her heart still racing from the day's subtle triumphs and challenges. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. Gabriel appeared in the doorway, calm yet magnetic, carrying 2 steaming cups of espresso. "I thought you might need this," he said, offering her one. Their fingers brushed lightly, the contact sending a thrill straight through her chest. Emilia accepted the cup, savoring both the warmth of the drink and the quiet intimacy of the moment. Every gesture from Gabriel was understated yet electric, leaving her simultaneously grounded and exhilarated. Before she could respond, Camille appeared in the doorway, notebook in hand, moving with her usual poised precision. "I hope I'm not intruding," she said smoothly, eyes flicking between Emilia and Gabriel. "But I wanted to share my latest concept for tomorrow's meeting." Emilia felt the familiar sting of rivalry, a subtle reminder that in Paris, charm and strategy were inseparable. Camille's poised interference, elegant and deliberate, required Emilia to be alert, clever, and poised at all times. They stepped together onto the balcony, the Seine below glimmering in the moonlight, street cafés alive with chatter, and the Eiffel Tower sparkling distantly like a sentinel over the city. Paris itself seemed to hold its breath, each twinkling light mirroring the charged tension among them. Emilia felt the pull of the delicate triangle, Gabriel's magnetic calm, Camille's precise calculation, and her own growing confidence and desire. Every glance, every word, every subtle gesture carried weight. Gabriel leaned closer, his voice low, warm. "You've handled today brilliantly," he said softly. "But remember, Paris doesn't stop testing you, and neither do the opportunities it gives you." Their hands brushed once more, fleeting, electric, impossible to ignore. Emilia's chest tightened, and for a moment, the world seemed to shrink to this balcony, this city, and this moment. Camille lingered at the far edge of the balcony, her presence a subtle challenge, her gaze sharp and calculated. Emilia realized that every glance, every word, every choice mattered, not just for work, but for the intricate dance of rivalry, charm, and desire that permeated the office. The city seemed to amplify everything, the heartbeat, the anticipation, the tension. As the night deepened, Emilia reflected on the week, the tests of skill, heart, and charm she had already faced, and the lessons yet to come. Gabriel's subtle attentiveness, Camille's poised interference, and Paris itself had pushed her to grow, trust her instincts, and embrace both vulnerability and strength. Every moment had been a challenge, a lesson, and an opportunity. Finally, a message from May blinked on Emilia's phone. "Tomorrow will change everything, Sparks, surprises, and challenges you didn't expect. Be ready. Emilia smiled, feeling a thrill of anticipation. The city, the office, Gabriel, and Camille promised new twists, new emotional peaks, and unexpected encounters. She felt alive, confident, and fully present in the intoxicating rhythm of Parisian life. Leaning on the balcony railing, Emilia watched the Eiffel Tower twinkle in the distance. She took a deep, steadying breath, letting the cool night air fill her lungs. Paris was unpredictable, intoxicating, and full of tests, but she was exactly where she needed to be, centered, aware, and ready for whatever tomorrow might bring. With heart and mind fully engaged, she was prepared to embrace the next wave of challenges, sparks, and unforgettable moments.